what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Chris Akin Presents. I, of course, am Chris Akin. That dude over there, that's Mr. Erik Ferentinos. Erik, how are you?
Doing great, Chris. Back from the 80s rock invasion weekend.
Look at you,
survived.
Just tearing it up with Mr. Stephen Piercy. I assume it was a good weekend?
It was. The
That's
show
cool.
went on. I thought it wasn't going to happen because of the rain,
Right.
unforeseen rain I was telling you about that morning on Saturday.
Sure. Well, we'll get to all that here in a bit, but we are not going to waste any time. We have a guest waiting to get on this show. He was so anxious that he was here before the show even started. Wow. That's how much he wants to be on the show.
That's the kind of friends we'd like to have.
That's right. And plus, if I'm not mistaken, and he could tell us for sure, but I think he's playing with our mutual friend, our show friend, Brandon Paul. Right? Is that right?
That's what I'm hearing.
That's what I'm hearing too. So we can explore all that. The guy's name is Kurt Deimer. He is he's going to be out on tour for the next probably 2 months, and depending on what kind of music you like, you should be able to see him because he's going to be on tour with Skid Row and Buckcherry. That's when I'm going to see him here in Cleveland, and then he's going to be back on tour in October with Mushroomhead. So musically diverse, and his music definitely fits both styles. So why don't we do this? Let's give everybody a taste of Kurt's music, and then we'll bring Kurt in and we'll get right down to this shit, shall we? So let's go. Let's go then. This is Burn Together. This is Kurt Deimer, and we'll be back with Kurt right after this. It's Chris Akin Presents.
Nothing is private. No landline in the room. Secrets are hacked. Wait, it'll all be over soon. Double down, you don't have to believe. Can't let it break you. You know the remedy I need. Make it all feel brand new. Burn together. Feel the pain. When we are all one, we can sustain. Burn together, fight as one. It's the only way. The spell comes undone. The spell comes undone.
All right, that is going to be some good listening here when we get to the tour. But right here to talk all about it is Kurt. Not just the new single Doom, but like that song that we played there and everything that you've got online, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, that song burned together about 40, 50 pounds ago. But thanks for reminding me. It's always good to have that motivation. But yeah, that song, it's one of the first videos we put out, and obviously that was Jeff Tate along with me. So we did that Burn Together featuring Jeff Tate, and might have another little surprise coming here soon. So
tell us about Jeff Tate, like how he got involved with this tune.
Well, my management back in, it was 2021, was Andy Gould and Paul Gargano. Okay. And Paul Gargano is really good friends with the Tates. And as we were kind of planning out what our first tour would be, how we start to present ourselves to the world, I haven't been touring 2 years yet until September. They set up a meeting and the Tates came into LA, and we met for dinner one night, and we put together a plan for us to open up for them on about 40 plus dates starting in September of 21. And then we agreed that I wanted him on this song Burn Together because I thought my voice along with his offsetting each other, telling the tale of the demise of the modern family, would just be so appropriate. And he agreed to come on board and be featured on that song and then shoot the music video. And then we headed out on tour. So
very cool.
That's how it all came together through Paul Gargano. So thank you, Paul.
Very nice. Well, dude, speaking of Jeff, and we'll get to Kurt Deimer in a minute, but speaking of Jeff, from everything I've heard, he can be difficult to work with. How was he to work with? Was he easy to work with, or?
Yeah. He flew in. We rode out to the desert together, and that video we shot, it was 116 degrees that day out in Palmdale, and we were out at Eclectic West, and it was brutal. And he just went there. I mean, we're shooting this video, and he's in the dome and everything, singing at the top of his lungs, you know, even though it's a music video. It was just amazing, and we became friends. And you know, it's you know, you treat people with respect, you get respect back. And Jeff and I get along great. When we went on tour, I even got invited on the bus a few times, and we still stay in touch now, and might be doing something else here in the future.
Very good, man. Well, dude, obviously, man, a lot of the people that are hearing and seeing you here with us for the first time are probably going, "Who is this guy?" You know. So why don't we start there? Why don't we? Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck's Kurt Deimer? Yeah,
exactly. So who the fuck is Kurt Deimer? I guess
that
that's
should be
the
your
obvious
shirts
question.
at the show. You should sell those.
Who the fuck's Kurt Deimer? Yeah. That's another one I'll add to my arsenal, because I got some pretty crazy T-shirts coming. But no, Kurt Deimer's just this guy who grew up his whole life kind of doing what everybody told him he can't do. I started working young. I figured out how to graduate high school without studying. Went to college. I partied my ass off for a few years. I was in playing around in bands around where I was going to school at University of Cincinnati, and a couple before that. It took me like 3 colleges to get out. And then I met my kid's mom. I have 3 boys, 28, 27, and 17, all the same mom. But I met her young. We got married young, and she helped straighten my ass out. I got out of my degree, and then I ended up getting a master's degree in management and marketing from because I worked in the oil business for Chevron and stuff. But so I kind of laid the music down, my creative side down. I had a lot of anxiety and panic stuff when I was young, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I self-medicated like many do, and that didn't work. And then I finally figured out my brain didn't make serotonin. Had to figure that all out on my own through my 20s. And by the end of my 20s, I figured out how to get a serotonin uptake inhibitor in my brain. And now I have felt like a normal human being ever since the late 90s that has normal functioning serotonin level. And started my own oil companies in 1999 above my garage with money I raised from buying and selling real estate, because I wasn't handed anything in life. But I wasn't born into money, and took care of my parents and my sister and my dad as they passed away in the decade of 2010 to 20. Lost both of them. And I went to go for my oil brand Starfire. I went down to shoot a cameo to present the check to the winner in a movie called Trading Paint, starring John Travolta and Shania Twain and Toby Sebastian from Game of Thrones. And the next thing you know, they're taking pictures of me, and they cast me. They say, we need a speaker to be the track announcer at the end of the movie and interview the winner in the winner's circle.
Awesome.
So how could I not do that? I look for signs in life all around me, and I'd lost my dad, my sister. She was a theater person, and she could have been on The Voice. She has the operatic, like a Jeff Tate voice, but a female, just crazy. And I said, yeah. And I learned my lines. And the next thing I know, I'm shooting a scene with John Travolta, and we're talking through it. And I end up in the movie. And then I get cast in Halloween in 2018. I get killed by Michael Myers. I'm the bald guy in the gas station. Teeth come out of my mouth. Right. So I'm like, okay, there's my sign. And so I started weaning out. I go, I'm going to go back and do it. My kids are older now. I've raised my kids. I've been there for them all the way. And now I'm going to go back and do what I wanted to do when I was 20, when I'd see Ozzy and Randy Rhoads, or I saw Iron Maiden with Paul in the band, before Bruce, and all those bands. And I said, man, I want to be on there and feel that energy, but I'm too nervous. So now that I had figured all that out, and it was the right timing, and I conquered and created companies that people told me I couldn't do, well, I'm going to go fight this battle, and I'm going to go back and do the music I wanted to do. So I hooked up with a writer friend, Ben Trexel in Alabama, when I was shooting more smaller projects to get more acting under my belt. And he had a few songs and he sounded like a wedding singer on them. And I'm like, let me sing the way I used to sing back in the day. And we did 3 songs. We kept writing songs. Burn Together was one of them. And took it out to LA. And this is about 2019 when I got back into the vocal singing and being a frontman.
Right.
And took it out 2020 to LA, a demo under the name of Bald Man. And COVID had just started, and my management at the time, this was pre-Paul and Andy, said, let's get this remixed, because David Bendeth had done the Bald Man demo, and he said, let's take it to somebody in LA, one of the mixers out here, and Chris Lord-Alge agreed to look at it.
Wow.
He liked my style, the way I tell a story. Him and I went out to dinner at Monty's out there by Woodland Hills, or out wherever it is. That's one of his favorite places. And him and I become great friends. He took me under his belt. He just said, let me show you how we can develop you and develop your voice. And I couldn't sing worth a shit. You know, I hadn't sung in 30 years.
Right.
And he said that little cover you and Ben wanted me to do Have a Cigar. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm feeling the Have a Cigar vibe the way Ben and I were doing it. And Chris said, let me show you how we're going to do Have a Cigar. And this is after we had formed our relationship and he was believing in my original demo stuff.
Okay.
And I came back into a studio and I listened to the guitar solo, or I think I was at my studio in Woodland Hills, and I heard this solo and it just blew me the fuck away. And I go, Chris, who is that? And he finally told me it was Phil X, plays in Bon Jovi.
Right.
And that's how Phil and I met. And then Phil and I shot that music video you'll see on YouTube for that's the first time Phil and I met that day.
Wow.
And that's how I got back into it. And the rest, Phil and I started writing together. Phil played out the first several tours with us because we had written a lot of the music that you hear now. Sure. Or what we had recreated that Ben and I wrote. So that's kind of in a nutshell how everything kind of got to where we are today. And I'm talking to you folks. So
right on, man. Well, dude, it's interesting. Me and you and I from hearing your story, we're sort of kindred spirits in that I got hurt on a job, and that's when I learned to be very productive. And since then, written 6 books, started 3 businesses, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And literally right now, I've just kind of decided that, I still have the businesses, but I want to do this,
right,
be interviewing bands and be doing entertainment. That's just what I decided to do. And I'm doing it. For me, there's no better joy in the world than the other stuff's great. Don't get me wrong. And I'm sure you're probably in the same boat. You're probably thrilled with the oil companies and when they are successful.
Right.
But there's nothing more passionate that you can get into than the passion project that the rest of your life has allowed you to do. Do you feel the same way?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head, man. It's just like while I was raising my kids, I started this in 99. They were little guys at that time. And I'd work 9 to 9, 12, 15 hours a day. I wrote every order. I started the whole company by myself. And now we have over 100 something employees and a big blend plant up in Pennsylvania and big distribution that distributes all over the world. We supply all of Jamaica for their government, all their oil. I mean, we're all over the world now. And I started this thing above my garage and everybody said, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then I was just like, okay, well, I built it. And I told Darren Ward, my good friend, who was kind of my side by side on the whole thing. Once I felt comfortable enough that he knew enough now I just started weaning myself out. And I said, look, man. And he's like, you're not going to do movies. You're not going to be able to make it in a row. I'm like, dude, I'm a free spirit. I've done all this. You wouldn't be here if I didn't take the chance. I'm going to go do what I want to do. And my companies will be worth more money if you're not relying on me to sell. I should only be involved in the big decisions now. And he keeps me abreast of stuff. And I don't worry about it at all. And I focus on my music and my acting. And that's it.
Go ahead, Eric.
Love
which blows everybody's minds away in the oil business. But you know what?
Right.
Fuck them. They said I couldn't build my company, and now they're all afraid of us. So fuck them. I don't care.
Dude, it's so amazing too how many, and I went through the exact same thing. So many people said, "Oh, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're going to lose your house. You're going to go broke."
Right.
That's
Right.
all I heard for.
My dad told me, you try to go be a rock star, you're going to be living under a bridge.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Told me.
But see, the beauty of my dad is he had a shrine of all my oil when he was bedridden his last few years, and he was my biggest fan in the oil. But and I know he knows because he's with me all the time that I do the rock thing now. But my sister and my dad both passed before I got back into this, which is the other odd thing because it's like their spirits. She was the big musician, thespian. He was a big sang in the church choir, baritone, corporate guy. And I just know they're with me, you know, and now I'm like doing all the things they love to do that everybody told me I couldn't do. So
Right on, man.
It's
Well,
crazy.
speaking of your dad, you have the song "My Dad," which is super personal. I mean, you talk about laying it out there. That is about as that is
Yeah.
as roadmap as it gets, which is difficult. I know, and again, I write books, and I write books about me, and you know, it's difficult to put yourself out there like that, especially for you. I would imagine in a very tough situation like that. Talk a little bit about this song and specifically about sharing that piece of your world with anybody that hears it.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even first and foremost be able to write a song like that or present it to the world like that if it wasn't for my dad and the way he was. You know, I was very fortunate to have a dad who always supported me. Was he the smartest on certain things in life? No, but who is? And but he always was there for me. He took care of me when I was going through my panic stuff when I was young and doing a lot of that white stuff, if you will. My dad was always there to help me and bail me out of trouble and keep pushing me to get out of this rut. And you know, I was sitting one night, I think it was like 2020, and I'm just, or maybe mid 2019, and I'm just on my back porch. At the time, I was drinking beer. I don't drink beer anymore, but it was just sitting there, had a good little buzz at 2 a.m, and that's exactly the words that came out of my brain in like 15 minutes. And that's the one song that I haven't gone back and changed any lyrics on. So that was a 15-minute brain dump, looking up at the sky, my dad feeling a little down, drinking beers, having a few smokes, and that's the song you hear. And then Phil and Chris did the rest with me and turned it into what it is. So
Go ahead, Eric.
No, that's awesome. I mean,
you know,
go ahead.
and we all have someone we've lost who's meant a lot to us, and it doesn't have to just be to a dad. It could be to a sister. I could do that easily. It could be to your mom. It could be to a great friend. It could be to just anybody in your life. And I wanted to share my emotion and how much I appreciated that person, and then wanted to share that with the world. And the only thing we got to do is keep spreading it, because I think it will touch lives all over the world. It's just getting it out there. So
Right on.
that
Well,
was
man,
my whole intention there.
Well, speaking of getting it out there, man, I have to imagine, and I'm guessing, and tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but I'm imagining the hardest part about being Kurt Deimer is getting the music out there for a number of reasons. Obviously, the first is the oversaturation of the market in general. There's just so much music out there right now. It's really hard to break through. But I think for you specifically, the hardest part has to be that you don't fit nicely in any box. You're not a metal guy, you're not a rock guy, or maybe you are a metal guy, you are a rock guy. There is a country element sort of thing in there. There's like a 69 Eyes goth element to your voice. I mean, you fit a lot of places, but not fully in any of them. How has it been finding the audience?
Well, every time we go out, we've toured with Jeff Tate. Then our next tour was with Yngwie Malmsteen. I took on that. They're like, why are you going out with just a shredder?
Right.
And they're all just going to want to go see Yngwie just shred. But we came away from that tour and everybody's like, thank God you guys were here. We got to watch Yngwie do his thing. And then we got to hear this new kick-ass rock band that just, I can't even pigeonhole you anywhere,
Right.
but we're so thankful. And then we went out with Drowning Pool and got the same thing. And now we're going out with, I think, an even better match with Buckcherry and Skid Row, and then Mushroomhead's hard. But every time we play somewhere, because we're unique and different and we just rock it out and my band just brings it, people
Right
are
now,
tripping.
speaking of your band, one of my friends is apparently playing with you, Brandon Paul. Is that
Brandon
correct?
Paul, he is he's the newest member of the band. What I've really been wanting to find a cohesive unit, because I really loved it when I was younger to go see the same guys in these bands that we go
Bingo.
to.
Yes, agreed.
I think it's very important. And I knew Phil and I had our 2 years. We did great things together. We're brothers. I appreciate and love him more than anything. But he's with Bon Jovi. He's on the big stage, and I felt really bad having him have to go play some of these smaller places. And I'm trying to build my band where it's the same people. So now we got Dango on drums, Dango Jellin, Brendan Hengel on bass. He's my music director now. Brandon Paul on vocals and guitar, and then Sammy Bowler as my lead guitarist. So that's the band you should see from now on, because they're all in it to win it with me now. And they know what we got to do. So, yeah, but Brandon's awesome. In fact, Brandon and I just finished our acoustic version of Doom, because we have radio stations that want to hear us play Doom acoustic. So we're going to shoot a video around the fire pit tonight of us doing Doom acoustic, me and Brandon Paul. So
Make sure that his hair doesn't catch fire.
Yeah. Well, Aquanet is what killed all my hair back in the day. I was pulling it all up, spraying that shit all over. And then I'm like, why am I losing my hair at 20? And I'm like, now I look like I have a cul-de-sac. Let's just park some cars up here.
I know that tune.
So now I just shave it off every couple days.
Right on, man. Well, dude, since you mentioned the Skid Row Buckcherry tour, that's like the next thing that comes up. Starts in what, in 2 weeks, right?
Oh no, actually, we're rehearsing all day today, tonight, tomorrow. Then we head out tomorrow night, and we play the House of Blues in Dallas on Thursday.
Okay, wow, excellent. Well, I know you're here in like 2.5 weeks. Maybe that's where I'm messing it up, but because you're in, I'm in Cleveland. You're here on the 9th, I believe.
Is that at the Roxino? Or?
At the Roxino, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd have to look at my master tour, but yeah, I think it's the 9th.
Yeah,
because we're at the we're at the Rose Music Center in Huber Heights. I think the day before that.
Okay.
But yeah, so you're coming out to the Cleveland show?
I'm coming to the Cleveland show. Absolutely.
Right.
That's gonna be
Awesome,
be a lot of fun, and for a lot of discovering your music, I definitely want to see you guys perform. I've seen Buckcherry and Skid Row a million times, but I've never seen Skid Row with Erik in it. So I'm anxious to see, probably like every other Skid Row fan, to see how he fits. So it's going to be an exciting. I think it's going to be an exciting show, and probably
Chris is talking about Erik Gronwall, ladies and gentlemen.
Not this Erik.
Yes, you were confused.
Yeah, and Brandon Paul, my guitarist, says Erik is just a phenomenal singer. So I can't wait to hear him perform.
I'm pretty good, but I'm mostly known for my guitar work.
No, I'm Erik from Skid Row.
Oh,
yeah, that's what he said. He just said he's never heard somebody sing like that. Not taking anything away from you, Erik, the guitarist.
Thank you very much.
Which, by the way, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. Love
to meet you too.
Yeah,
Kurt, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, Kurt, how did you guys end up on the Skid Row tour? We'll start with that one. How'd you end up? Did just a tour manager or what?
Oh, my management. My manager now is Brian Wheat, who's the bass player in Tesla, and then Dean Robson. They co-manage me, who also manages Tesla with Brian, and my booking agent now is Andrew Goodfriend from TKO, and that's who booked this tour and hooked that up, and the Mushroomhead tour, and we're working on some other stuff right now as well. So, but that's how it all came about.
Sure.
Could-
Let's go ahead, Eric.
Well, not to derail the whole thing, but I was really interested in some of the movie talk,
Sure.
like specifically for the horror fans and stuff. That I thought the Halloween thing you were talking about is pretty awesome. Tell us more about like the experience on the Halloween set. Like, was it the same people that worked on the earlier movies? Was this Rob Zombie's? Was it his version?
Oh no, this was the official sequel to the first Halloween.
Oh wow, this was going way back.
John Carpenter, yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Okay.
So then David Gordon Green and Danny, I just can't remember his last name, but they got with John Carpenter, and this is the official sequel with Jamie Lee Curtis from the original one that had come out back in the late 70s. And they did 3 of them. They did the one I was in, then Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So it was that trilogy. So nice. I'm in one of the 4 real John Carpenter Halloween movies officially. So wow. I'm on a short list of kills, which is cool as fuck. And I'm the gas station attendant. If you guys want to watch it, it's 2018. And Jamie Lee Curtis and James Jude Courtney plays Michael Myers. But we filmed my scene at a gas station in South Carolina. This is granted the second movie I'm in now. It's a whirlwind at this point. And I show up there. They go, okay, you're going to get killed by Mike, which I knew that, but I didn't know. Am I going to be fighting him? I had no clue. But then I had to sit in a prosthetic chair with Christopher Nelson, who did the mask, and he made this whole broken jaw, ripped up mouth, face. That took about 3 hours to get it on, about an hour to get it off. And I had to walk around all day with a big towel over my head because they didn't want the public to see this because they knew it was going to be epic kill. I ended up in prosthetic magazines, signing autographs at horror conventions of my picture, my kill. Awesome. The teeth came out of my mouth. I just sit like that position for 4 hours while they snapped thousands of photos. And then they were going to put a dummy on the gurney when they rolled out me as a victim. And I go, you got this all over me. Put me on the gurney, zip me up in the body bag, and make it real. They're like, really, you'll do that? I go, yeah, why not? You just spent 3 hours on this shit. And I'm going to lay on the gurney. I want to see what it feels like to be zipped up in a body bag while I'm alive, So
did you breathe in that thing? Did they have like holes in the back or what?
No, it was quick enough though. They just needed to film it being wheeled. They wanted to show the zip up and then they get you right out of it. They're so worried about your safety. So while I'm doing that and I'm sitting in the gas station, I'm sipping through a straw Coke all day because I can only drink out of a can. I can't eat. And James Jude Courtney's sitting there with his Michael Myers face. We're just sitting in there talking about our cats and our families and just our kids. And then we go and, it's just crazy. And we became good friends. And then I decided I'm going to do my own horror franchise. So for you, Eric, my buddy Kevin Wayne and I, who's an actor from Alabama, who I'd done some smaller projects with, I said, let's do a horror franchise. So we'd have Hellbilly Hollow coming out, which is my horror franchise. And it features me as a crazy, psychotic motherfucker. And Kevin is my brother, and his name is Tickles, if that tells you anything. And we were just crazy nutbags, and we lived at this haunted attraction called Hellbilly Hollow for a month in 2 trailers. And we went out and filmed this thing, I wanted to just learn how to take my lumps and how the whole process worked. So this film's being sold right now, so it'll be coming out, and I'll let you guys know when I know where. And then this March, I went to Altadena, California. I was out there for a month, and I have my first movie that I star in alongside Lynn Shay from Insidious and Bill Moseley from The Devil's Rejects and all the Rob Zombie movies. So Lynn and Bill and I star in this movie that we just shot in March, which will be coming out soon. There's a big buzz around it. And I have a new character that we're introducing to the world called the Grog. So I play the Grog. There's the
nice.
Grog right
awesome.
There. So
we have some interesting characters too, surprisingly, on our show. A couple evil villains. One's Sugar Smack, that
Sure.
he actually tortures Chris. He sends him riddles, and if Chris can't solve them, he has to eat whatever in the package that Sugar Smack sends him.
And it ain't good.
Oh,
It's never
and
good.
it ain't good.
He has
You
to do one
you
today.
either.
Yeah.
Oh, real. Very cool.
And,
I would love I would love that shit.
Yeah. Tune in for the rest of the episode. You'll see him later.
Exactly.
Oh, it's going to be on this episode.
It's on this episode, so you'll see the horrible Sugar Smack.
And if you like what you see and you think he'd be good in a movie or a voiceover, let him know.
Well, we've already got Hellbilly Hollow 2 written, and
Sure.
we're just waiting to see what's.
I'm talking about the sequel, Kurt. I'm talking about the sequel.
Okay, all right. Or we'll just do a little. Maybe he can be in one of my music videos I need to shoot in November.
There you go.
December. We'll do a little
Now we're
Sugar
talking.
Smack shit.
Sugar Smack can make
right.
an appearance. I'm going to be so pissed if I've been doing this shit for 20 whatever years and Sugar Smack gets in a movie before me.
Well, maybe we'll do a little package deal.
There we go.
Well,
Well, dude, let's kind of let's wind down a little bit. Let's talk about the most recent single, Doom. Great song, great video.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about it and how it came to be. For people that don't know, it is being featured in your movie.
Yeah, Hellbilly Hollow. It's going to be in
Hellbilly
that one.
Hollow.
Yeah.
Did the song come before the movie, or is the song based out of what you had created with the movie?
Well, the song came because the movie's there, and we have this big scene at the end that's very epic, kind of like the end of Devil's Rejects. And I wanted something powerful, and a lot of my songs that you can stream anywhere are in the Hellbilly Hollow movie. The soundtrack's about 7 of them, along with 2 other bands. So the movie came first, and I needed to write a song. So again, I'm sitting there in my studio here in Ohio, and late at night, still when I drank beer, and I look like I did in the Burn Together video. But I'm just writing, and I start writing these words, and I wanted it to be powerful, explosive, like something nobody's heard, like kind of when AC/DC came out with Bon Scott, and you never heard a voice like that, and it caught on, and it's just like rock and roll in your face. And I wanted to write lyrics that didn't necessarily, that doom is part of the movie. A lot of people are experiencing doom, but I also wanted to write lyrics that made people think in real life and real life struggles, like, I had back when I was younger, or people on heroin, or people just doing pain pills and all that stuff.
Right.
That can take you to the dark side of life and can create instant doom. Look at all the fentanyl deaths. Look at all the drug deaths. One day you're alive and well, the next day it's doom and gloom for everybody. So I wanted to subtly touch on that, maybe make people think, and just tell the tale. If you can tell, fire to consume, it's a little bit subtly about heroin. I don't want to throw it in people's face, but doom can come from letting all these evil things into our lives. So,
Right.
But that's how that all came about. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're gonna play a piece of it here in a second. But before we do, why don't you throw out those plugs? Where should we tell people to go to keep up with you, to buy merch, to buy singles on albums, etc.?
Yeah. Our debut double album's coming out next year. Chris Lord-Alge and I are finishing that, so that's coming. But you can go to Kurt Deimer, DEIMER.com. You can buy merch there. You can come to our show, buy, sell. I meet everybody at all the shows. You can follow me at Kurt Deimer, DEIMER, on Instagram, Facebook. Join the Fam Club on Facebook, the Kurt Deimer Fam Club, YouTube. What else? X, everywhere. Subscribe, follow us, and the website and all of those social medias is the best way right now. And the merch is all on the website. We're going to also be selling our vinyl on there when that first issue comes out, and doing some specialty vinyl and whatnot. But that's the best way. Or just Google Kurt Deimer, and all kinds of stuff will come up. My red carpet debut for Halloween.
Nice.
death picture. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy whirlwind the last 3 years. So,
well, it's awesome, man, and we're certainly glad to meet you. Certainly come back when the movie is ready to be released. We'd love to
awesome.
have you come back on and talk about it, and maybe we do a premiere or something online or something.
I'd love to. I'd love to do that.
Very cool.
It's an honor just to be on your show now. So
a Sugar Smack and Tickles offshoot, perhaps.
Yeah.
Side franchise. We'll talk about
it. Yeah. I got to see what this Sugar Smack looks like.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
I hate fucking Sugar Smack.
No, I'm happy to come on anytime, and I look forward to meeting you, Chris.
Yeah, it's gonna be great
here in the next week or two. So
yeah, we'll definitely hook up at the show, and we'll talk, and we'll see what we come up with. But
cool.
For right now, let's wrap this one up. One more time, it is Kurt Deimer, Deimer. Look him up and buy something, people. Don't be cheap, lazy fucks, and stream. Buy something.
Yeah, you can stream our music anywhere, and follow us on Spotify, all that stuff. So
you know what? Stream it from your CD player. How's that? Buy something.
Buy something.
Wear a shirt while you're streaming it that says Kurt Deimer on it. Do these guys a solid. They're out there busting their ass. So all right, Kurt. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna play a clip from the video of Doom. And Kurt, thanks so much for joining us here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Without you guys, we couldn't get our music out there. So thank you very much, both of you. And it's a pleasure to meet you both.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Here it is. It is Doom. It is Kurt Deimer right here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thank you, guys.
Do you ignore? Is it coming for you? A figment of your mind, something dark and blue. We do drunks, we get lit. Hate on each other, that ain't the worst of it. Doom. Psychos and killers roaming free. A lightning bolt, hepatitis C. Life is scary, a runaway train. Take the ride, go out of your brain. Fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother.
Did you miss the live version of the Classic Metal Show this week? Well, don't worry. Catch full replays of the Classic Metal Show every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to noon Eastern. Video replay airs on CMS TV at www.cmstv.net, while the audio version can be heard on CMS Uncensored, which is available at www.cmsradio.net. Now is the time to catch up with this week's show, as the Classic Metal Show is available daily from 7 p.m. to noon Eastern. Hail and kill.
And we are back right here on Chris Akin Presents. Myself, Erik Ferentinos. And dude, how cool was that guy, huh?
Yeah, that was a surprise. Kurt's a true Renaissance man.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, geez, I think I'm a busy guy. Jesus Christ, this guy's starting oil companies, for fuck's sake.
I know. I was like, what?
He's starting he's starring in movies. He's starting oil companies. He
started an oil company in my attic.
In my basement. It's like, Jesus.
What? Okay, was your house built on an oil well or something? Yeah. I should ask.
But yeah, he seems like a great guy, man. I'm actually, and the music's good. I mean, it really is. I mean, we played a couple of tunes, here, but there's 7-8 tunes out there on whatever platform you listen to stuff, and it's all good. I can't wait to see them. Actually, I'm really excited to see them here in 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, when they're here in Cleveland with Skid Row and Buckcherry. That's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, I'm seeing good stuff from that tour video wise out there, and it's good to see that Erik Gronwall, not Ferentinos, but Gronwall recovered from whatever illness he had going that looked like they'd sidelined them earlier this year. He seems to be back in full form, so
seems to be good. Yeah. Well, dude, let's talk a little bit about your weekend before we let your fucking friend Sugar Smack on the show. So just to set this up a little bit, you were in Missouri this weekend, correct?
That is correct. We flew into St. Louis, but we had to make our way to Hannibal. Speaking of
Right.
evil movie characters. No, Hannibal, actually, this town turned out to be Mark Twain, the author of great novels such as Tom Sawyer and such. This was his boyhood town.
Okay.
And I think I texted you a few photos just to get a vibe of the old vintage look of this town.
Right.
But it was like an hour and a half drive from the airport. We rented a pretty badass Suburban and I drove the band the hour and a half. We made our way there. I didn't know that the weather was going to be bad, but it was raining pretty good. I had woken up that Saturday morning and ate some breakfast and decided to go for a walk, kind of check out this historic Hannibal town on foot. And surprisingly, I started to hear some thunder, and then the rain came down. It was so much worse than what the hurricane was in San Diego last week. I mean, this was like 5 times the amount of rain that we got in a hurricane, and this was just, I guess, a regular storm for them in St. Louis. But I ran for cover in this awning area. And the only other person on the street, unfortunately, was like a homeless dude. There was like one homeless dude over by the train tracks. And I had actually shot a quick video that I had sent to you where I was stuck in the rain. And I go, oh my God, it just started raining. And I'm like, I took cover under this thing. Right when I stopped that video, all of a sudden the homeless guy came running up. He throws his backpack up on the platform thing I'm on. I'm like, what the hell? I was actually smoking a doob at that point, and I was like, oh shit, what's going on here?
Big surprise, right? Big surprise. Yeah. You were smoking
like,
weed.
whoa, hey, what's up, man? And then the guy he didn't say anything to me. He just like lifted himself up over the railing and came over, and he just kind of walks behind me, and into the shadows of this little awning area, and he just sits down and curls down in silence. And I was kind of like, I didn't know how to act in that situation. Sometimes I feel guilty, like, hey, why weren't you nice to that guy? Just start smoking your doobie with him, or,
right.
ask him about his life story, or whatever. And then the other selfish part of me is like, I don't want this guy to talk to me. I don't want him to. I didn't even have any money if he was going to ask me for any. I actually didn't even have any cash on me. Do you ever feel that way with situations like that, or you just don't care? Do you talk?
No. I'll talk to homeless people, but I will not give them money. Right. I will literally offer to take them to a store, a restaurant, whatever. I'll be like, come on, I'll buy you a sandwich, but I ain't giving you $5 to buy a sandwich because you won't do it.
Right. Well, what I decided to do was, because I was about halfway done on the doob I had going, right?
Right.
And so I go, I took the last, I'm like, and I kind of look back, I go, and then I stuck it on the this little brick shelf area. I was like, and I just kind of left it there, and I'm like, I go, okay, I'm going to get out of here now, because I was so uncomfortable in the situation. I decided I'm going to actually try to run back to this Best Western or whatever that was a quarter mile up the hill, and it's pouring, right? And I had my hat on, but it was like I was just wearing a cutoff shirt and shorts. Dude, I got sopped running, and I realized how out of shape I still am, because running up an incline a quarter mile, I thought I was going to have another heart attack by the time I got up there. And of course there was a local, I don't want to call him a hillbilly guy, but dude that was standing in front of the lobby to get into the hotel, and of course he had to say something to me as I'm coming up. So I was like, well, that sucked, right? I was like, what reaction? Yeah, man. Oh, that's hilarious. We should be friends, because that's so funny. But I was, everything was sopped, just running through puddles. I had to figure out what I was going to do, because I only brought one pair of sneakers for the trip, and now they're soaked. Right. And we hadn't even gone to sound check yet or anything. So I had those little towels in the hotel room. I'm shoving the little towels into the footholes of my thing. I'm wrapping it and wrapping the shoes up. Somebody mentioned that I should have used my hair dryer on it. That would have helped too. But yeah, that was a surprise stormer caught in, and it just didn't let up, and sound check ended up getting pushed back to the point where we didn't get a sound check. Like, they did not have the PA, they couldn't set it up under the circumstances of rain at this particular.
And you guys were the headliners or co-headline?
We're the headliners of this.
And you didn't get a sound check.
No. No, and Slaughter was opening and Vixen.
Okay.
Which, side note, Britt Lightning,
Yeah.
the talented lady guitarist of the group, will be a guest on our show September 11th. She's going to be coming up. So she confirmed that when I saw her. They were fantastic, by the way. But anywho, Slaughter ended up they were down there. They're very serious when it comes to their whole organization, how they're top notch, how they handle things.
Right.
And they have a whole team of people that probably have 401ks. I don't know. They're like pros that they have work with them, but they were all down there trying to, help with the situation. They offered to sound check on our behalf. I don't even know what that means, because we have different ways of doing things. But yeah, it came down to us not having a sound check. I didn't think the show was even going to happen, to be honest, because everything got delayed. We were originally going to be going on at 9. We ended up going on at 11.
Well, and it's weird because you had texted me, had to be like 3:00 in the afternoon. And you were like, I don't think this show's happening. And I was like, what the fuck? It's like, you don't know by now. I mean, it was like later in the day when you texted me.
Well, I'm thinking if they can't plug in the PA system because of the rain, it's not going to stop raining anytime soon. I mean, the weather, I had my phone with the weather thing in the Hannibal, Missouri, and I was like, showers going into like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, but it finally, cleared up. I guess they got it going. When we went, what was interesting was, I guess after Slaughter, they were instrumental in their crew getting this show off the ground. If it wasn't for them, it probably would have been canceled, to be honest. But at that point, they just go, hey, you know what? We have to get on early flights anyway. We're willing to open the show. And so they just decided to open the show. So
nice.
I didn't even see them on this trip. By the time we drove down there, Vixen was about to go on. And so I did watch their gig nervously, because I'm thinking, man, as soon as they're done, I got to go up there. I don't even know what I'm working with up here. You know what I mean? Like, equipment wise, I shouldn't say that. Usually they have the same Marshall kind of setup for me or whatever, but I haven't tested the amp or anything. So I'm kind of like going out there blind, as we all were, all the band members. But watched Vixen. They were not surprisingly good. I shouldn't even say that. They were good in this situation. I was going like, how are they going to sound here when they're with the house guy? And this whole thing was a mess today. They probably didn't get a sound check either. But by within a few songs, it sounded great. The guy had her vocal great from the top. Okay. So
that's obviously the important part of Vixen is the voice. So Lorraine Lewis, right?
Lorraine is great. I mean, she's no spring chicken, you know what I mean? But she throws down. She has the energy of like a 20-year-old.
Right.
And it shows. She's somebody who's like obviously stoked to be there, and just it's putting in 100%. The whole band does. Right. When you sit back and look at it, they encapsulate the 80s quintessential sound with the keyboards, and they're playing Richard Marx hits, co-written hits,
right.
But they have the sound is there. It's this like sexy 80s sound that they have,
right? And
they all take their image very seriously. Like, somebody told me that they saw them in the workout room at the hotel. Like, they're working out in the morning. They're like doing the curls and stuff. So they're they're making sure that they're looking top notch
up, right?
That's right. So you're getting like the best Vixen show that you can.
So they're in the gym working out, and you're puffing and puffing to run a quarter mile.
Right. Oh my God, that was terrible. I'm leaving joints for homeless guys out in the neighborhood. So anyways, they put on a great performance, and then when we were walking up, I saw them coming down, and that's when Britt and I reconnected, and she had missed a text because I had invited her some weeks back after we had done a show, and I thought she was ghosting me or whatever, I was like, oh man, Secret Lightning, big time to me or whatever. But it turned out she just didn't. She felt really bad when so at the show, she was going to text me anyway.
Right.
And when she did, she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't see this. Can we reschedule that? I would love to come on." I was like, "Oh, well, awesome. See, I misinterpreted that whole thing." And so she is going to be a guest. It's going to be fun to have her on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dude, it's going to be interesting to have the other side of Vixen, since we had Janet on, the original singer of Vixen. Now we have one of the newer members of Vixen. I'll be interested to talk to her about, how people treat her version of Vixen. If she gets any flack at all for not being the originals. Well, that's everybody I've talked to.
Right.
That has seen this version of Vixen says it's fucking killer.
It is. And she's not like she doesn't strike you as a scabby guitarist. She's like has her whole image down. She has this like really awesome looking Randy Rhoads Jackson that she plays that's got like the animal print on it. And she's she has all her ducks in a row. Like her tone was like on point. You know what I mean? She probably had the best guitar tone of everybody that night. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's really interesting because there was that tweener lineup of Vixen, and this, I know way too much about Vixen for somebody that really wasn't a huge fan, but there was the original lineup that everybody knew, riding the motorcycle, Edge of the Broken Heart, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There's that lineup that everybody knew. Then there was the tweener lineup that was without Janet. And it had some people that were not known. It had Jan Keeneman in it, and it was not good. And everything I heard, and I'm taking this from everything I heard. I never saw it, but I heard it was not very good live. And I know the record was shit because I actually wrote a horrible review of it, to which Jan Keeneman yelled at Neely about what an asshole I was.
Oh,
for my review of their Live and Learn record that they did. Right. That was that tweener lineup. But everything I've heard now with Lorraine on, she's, from every account I've heard, she's great out front, and Britt is great on guitar. And it's the two things I've heard is, one, that the shows have been good, and two, it's a heavier version of Vixen than you probably remember.
Roxy Petrucci is such an amazing drummer, as far as solid and just meter wise, everything. It's impressive, like she really gives it the balls out there. Okay. And when you're looking at the band, you're not thinking scabby lineup. It's like there's a little bit of an excitement watching them. Like you don't even realize that it's not. I mean, Roxy might be the only original person at this point, from what I could see, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't know much about.
Yeah, but you don't get that vibe when you watch it, and Lorraine nails the song so well and has such a good voice that the crowd was digging it. They were way into it. So
that's cool.
I thought it was a great bill. This like 80s rock invasion is happening more than once. We've done a few of these with Slaughter and Vixen. Quiet Riot is part of the bill on some of them as well, where you'll get all four bands. So we're doing more of those. There's probably like another handful of these 80s rock invasion shows that'll have Piercy, Slaughter, Quiet Riot, Vixen, and come out because it's a great time. Everybody had a blast. Our show was great. We threw in a couple tracks we hadn't done before. The Morning After.
Oh yeah.
Rat song. We just
morning after.
I'll leave the morning after.
That had to be a fun one for you because that's like some wicked guitar in that song.
Well, yeah, Johnny does the leads on that one. It's got some fierce lead work. Actually, you know what we did? We ended up doing another guitar fucking duel. I didn't even know we were going to do this song there was talk we were going to do it, and then at some point in the weeks on downtime, I was going over one of the tracks we were supposed to do, and I go, we're not doing any of these. Why am I wasting my time with this? We're not going to do this. And we didn't have our regular drummer for the show the other night, so I just didn't think it was going to happen, but it was happening, and apparently there was some rehearsing that went on in Vegas for it and stuff, so I was like, oh, okay. So he had to like show me a couple of things. I've heard the song enough times, but basically had to go up and wing it, and then I was to find out, we're going to do another like a little guitar battle between you guys or whatever. And I was like, oh crap. Again, that's the second time that was like kind of thrown at me where I didn't know that was going to happen, but whatever. I just go with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes playing like fast stuff people think is the hardest thing, and it's almost easier to like jerk off like that fast than it is to play something slow and melodic and bluesy. It's easy to be pitchy on something like that, or just not have a good enough vibrato to hold a note. And playing a you're throwing all those nuances out the window because you're just playing notes as fast as you can.
And when you're playing fast, you can fuck up and nobody notices.
Exactly.
When you're playing slow or a slower solo or whatever, if you fucking miss a note, everyone hears it. But if you're Yngwie Malmsteen, for as great as Yngwie is, he probably fucks up on every show and nobody notices because it's still.
And he does, yeah. His tone's very like clean and kind of dry and weird, and of course he hits chunky notes, but he's doing all this other impressive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. I mean, there is definitely, without a doubt, a fan base for that higher level of shred. I would say 75% of the people out there don't really care that much about those levels of it. They'll take a Journey or a Neil Sean over more of that. Most people,
sure,
they're not that in tune with, like, once there gets to be a certain amount of notes, most people check out. They're not musicians. You know what I mean? They don't even know what they're hearing at that point. Yeah. Most people are pretty simple-minded with music, and that's why most pop music is pretty simple.
Right.
And
that's why bands like Yngwie, Dream Theater, etc. never get huge. They'll grab all the music snobs. The music snobs love that stuff. Because they're like, oh, that's amazing. Did you see the way he did a double arpeggio dive with one hand? That's amazing. But most of us are just like, that's really fucking boring.
It does kind of get boring after you've seen it. Like, no matter how great a trick is, once you've seen the trick like a certain amount of times, it's like, okay. It's better, I think, in kind of smaller doses. With that sort of thing. But when it comes to the 80s and Rat being from that era, they did have that going on. Like, if you listen to the live version of Morning After that Rat had back in like 83 or 4, that's on YouTube, where they're live playing a club in LA or something. They do that between Warren DeMartini and Robin Crosby. They have a little breakdown in that song, and they do a little back and forth because people love that shit at that particular time. So,
but to be honest though, that was the rarity in Rat too, because Rat, especially DeMartini was a master. And I'm not kissing his ass just because you're playing the role of him or anything like that. I'm just talking in general. He was the master at playing not necessarily fast solos. None of his solo work is especially, or most of it is not especially fast, but the tone, he was so tonal. You just knew it was him. And he was never, the beginning of Way Cool Jr. Or Love Me's a Dirty Job, rather. Love Me's a Dirty. There's nothing fast about that at all. But it is so goddamn distinct and identifiable that you can't help but say, that is Rat.
He got away for, like, when they initially came out, they were doing what other bands were doing, which was trying to play notes as fast as they can. Like Warren was a huge Eddie Van Halen fan, as all teenagers were. Mm-hmm. And there's stories of him being in Guitar Center, just playing Eruption over and over and over again,
Right.
And when you take some of those faster descending Eddie Van Halen riffs, you know what I mean? When you figure that out, it's like, oh yeah, you shred, bro. And he was, they were putting that into the very early, like Rat, some of the Rat EP stuff, and maybe some of the Out of the Cellar stuff. But everybody was doing that, and there wasn't really much.
Well, it's because it was new too. It was new.
Yeah.
When you think about pre Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
The guitar, especially heavy metal guitar, was what? Tony Iommi, which is not fast. If anything, it's super slow,
bluesy, pentatonic.
and, and just it was heavy, but it was. You never listen to a Tony Iommi solo and go, "Holy shit! What a
You're right,
blazing
Chris.
player he is!" You know.
You're totally right, dude. And it had only been a couple of years, and so there was an excitement built around it, and it was the momentum of the guitar virtuoso thing was getting it was like a zit about to pop. And then finally, like Steve Vai and these people came out and like were talking with their guitar. It was like things were just getting to an insane level. Now enter me as a 15-year-old kid at this time, you know.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have much of a career if I have to be that good. But like surprisingly, 1990 would come and I'd turn 18 years old, and then the pendulum swung the other way, and like that was, you were not going to have a job if you were playing solos. If you had big hair and solos, dude, you're out of work, because that sound is over with. And that was kind of weird, but I guess good, because it kind of kept me playing music for a bit to where I guess my rhythm skills were good through the 90s. I was always kind of solid rhythm player. And then later, by 2001, Steven would hit me up about playing, and I would have to suddenly quickly go back and start to try to learn these faster things. Now, you had said playing the part, that I'm playing the part of Warren DeMartini. I don't think that was initially the plan when I came into the band. Steven initially wanted to do a retrospective of all his bodies of work and bands. So he was more looking for somebody that could also do the arcade, could do the Vertex, could do, it was more well-rounded. He wasn't looking for necessarily a Warren DeMartini clone or something. He could have just pulled one from a Rat cover band. And then he was also looking for somebody to help co-write songs, because that's in rock music, that's typically the combination. It's usually the singer and the guitarist work together to write the songs in most of the successful cases. You know, Aerosmith, whatever. That's usually how it's done. So he was kind of looking for that, and that's where I kind of filled the space there. But certainly when I first started, you know, I was really far away from nailing his sound. It took a while. We weren't doing all Rat songs in the beginning. Like I said, it was more a collection of his solo works and a couple of Rat songs in there. So as we added songs over the years, I was able to like brush up on my skills, but I've never had any like formal training to play in that shred category. So it's taken some time, but I feel like after all these years of playing, I can play that stuff too. You know, at this time, I do the fast pull-offs and, you know, descending and ascending stuff for the most part. I mean, but again, I don't like to overdo it or identify myself as that. I would much prefer to identify as a songwriter that wrote a song you really like. You know what I mean? That means more to me, and I think is has more longevity in the long term.
Well, and the interesting thing is, if you take those virtuoso guys, the only songs you can actually name, common people, not their hardcore fans, but common people, the only songs they can name are the songs where they kind of dumbed it down a little bit. You know, Steve Vai with the, you know, the Passion Warfare stuff, you know, or Yngwie with Heaven Tonight. You know, that's like Yngwie's biggest song, or Rising Force even. I mean, Rising Force does have some boom. You know. I
got off track, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because where I was going with the Warren thing is, by the time they, you know, Rat started to get to their real peak of success there, you know, 86 or 7, he had, I'm assuming, realized that he was going to have to go a different way with it. So he kind of went back to the blue. He became Warren the Blues Man. But I think it was a great move personally, because it gave him more identity. The other guitarists of the day were not going that way with it. They were not using the neck pickup to do the leads. And that ended up being his kind of sound that people equate with Warren, is that some of that neck pickup doing the bluesier, sweet tasting scales that he does, and so forth. Yes, he's done in earlier songs the more shreddy, you know, You're in Love, which is a lead I do, by the way. You know, that has some crazy shit he does, probably some of the most intricate.
That was still early on, though.
That's right.
Love was what, Invasion? That's Invasion.
That's right. As the records proceeded, he wasn't necessarily going that way with it. He was trying to be a little more melodic with things. So as far as that goes in the Steven band, I think I do serve the band well doing those, because I I do play with feel, and and of course play the songs well, but it is a two guitar band. Rat was always intended to be that. And with the addition of Johnny Monaco, obviously he's an old school shred guy who's been doing this for a very, very long time. So of course it's effortless for him in some capacity to do some of these parts. So when it came to this song, Steven's like, hey, he's gonna do the lead on it, and I was like, you gotta, that's what the boss says, that's what's happening. So but there's still some action. You get some action from me in there, because I guess we do a little back and forth thing live now. So, and there's a little harmony. Like people did like the harmony lead stuff in Rat, specifically Round and Round is the prime example. When it gets to that double down down da da down da 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 la la la, people love that.
They do.
So they're gonna get it with Johnny and me on guitar. You're gonna get more of the double. We're gonna work on that and get our shit together there. But we're adding songs. Morning After is a new old Rat track you're gonna hear now at the show.
That's cool. I love that song. So very good, man. Well, dude, let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then your fucking friend is waiting in the wings to torture me again. Fucking Sugar Smack is back. So we'll take a quick break.
Sugar Smack's Revenge. Sugar Smack 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Dude, you didn't hear the CMS yet, I'm assuming, but not only is this Sugar Smack invading my world, but then this we have a guy from CMS that is sending scorpions and mealworms and bugs and shit for me to eat on the CMS. Somehow I've transitioned into a guy that eats bullshit. It's like, ugh.
Well, that's different. Like Sugar Smack, his MO appears to be it's all involving sugar.
Yeah, well, that's his MO. This other guy, now I'm eating bugs. What the fuck's next? Somebody gonna send me a box of shit?
I'd be careful there, because it could be a Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum. Chris will eat the bugs and he will like it.
He will like it.
I'd be wary of that shit.
I might try it once, but I'm like, what happened to me? All right, let's do this. Play a quick break, and we will be back with Sugar Smack right here on Chris Akin Presents.
It is time to save America and stop funding woke corporations. Shop with merchants that share your values today. Get all the great products you buy online anyway from Mammoth Nation. Visit the online store today at us.cmspn.com and save money while helping to fend off enemies of our way of life. We can't expect change until we make changes ourselves. Shop Mammoth Nation today.
And we are back right here on Chris Akin Presents. Chris Akin, Erik Ferentinos, and
who we got?
Oh, and Charlie Cat.
Charlie Cat.
Charlie Cat has to check in to watch me be tortured as well. So
she's excited.
So Sugar Smack is waiting in the green room with yet another riddle for me, I'm assuming. I have no idea. Has Sugar Smack spoken to you about what's coming or not?
I did get a word that he was not pleased that you decided to put off his riddle challenge. I probably shouldn't have even said to him that you equated him to like Judge Aiken or something.
Oh boy.
Like I mentioned it and he got a little, he thought the production value was apples and oranges with Judge Aiken. And so he wasn't too thrilled.
Was it apples and oranges or cotton candy and licorice?
It was Sasquatch poo and turkey burgers. No, I don't know.
All right. Should I let this fucker in here?
So this is, he sent another riddle, I'm assuming. Yes. He said he was going to.
Yeah. Well, there's another, I have no idea what he sent. I just have it. So,
all right.
Without further ado, here is Sugar Smack.
Oh, man.
Hello again, Mr. Aiken. I so much enjoyed watching you eat that Sasquatch poo last week. I bet you could still taste it. Well, bippity boppity boo. It's time for riddle number 2. Well, you know the rules, Chris Akin. If you cannot answer the riddle in 10 seconds, you will have to eat whatever is in package number 2. If you decide not to play, you will also have to be force-fed what's in package number 2. The only way to not eat what's in package number 2 is to get the riddle correct, which we know you can't do. No one has ever gotten any of my riddles. Are you ready to lose? Here we go. Who is very porous, likes to live in the water, and has a home that smells like pine? You have 10 seconds. Go!
What in
10,
the fuck? I have
9, 8, 7, 6.
the starfish from SpongeBob. I don't know.
The star, is that your final answer?
I'm guessing that. I don't
Okay.
know. That's my
right.
final answer. I don't know that he smells like pine, but
All right. Well, let's find out, I guess.
all right. Let's see if I get it. Please God, let me have got this. All right, here we go.
Oh, Mr. Akin. That was a valiant effort, but no. That answer is incorrect. The correct answer is SpongeBob SquarePants. He's a sponge. He lives under the sea in a pineapple. You know what this means? It's once again time for you to get smacked with the sugar. I enjoy this so much. So much. I'll be seeing you next week, Mr. Akin. Bye for now.
I hate this motherfucker.
Wow,
I
you
hate
were
him.
close, man.
I
You
was
were
close. I should get
so-
credit for that.
Yeah, but your final answer was the starfish.
Well, I thought, isn't that what is that guy's name on that show? The friend,
Right.
whatever his
Starfish.
name is.
I don't know, but
I don't know his name, but
the
God
porous.
damn.
He's not porous.
Well, I don't know. I got 10 seconds to think of this shit.
That's right.
That's not.
That's what
fucking
makes
fair.
it so much more painful, because you were like
Yeah.
right there. You almost had it, and then
Yeah,
you didn't.
well. Deal's a deal, as much as I fucking hate your friend Sugar Smack. Package number 2.
All right, what do we got? Maybe it won't be so bad.
Yeah, somehow I doubt that. Let's see here. All right. Oh, this doesn't look as
What is it?
bad. It
is
is.
it?
I'll put it up on the full screen here. Let me.
Are those burgers? Oh my goodness, they're
They're
jumbo Krabby Patties.
Jumbo Krabby Patties from SpongeBob. All right,
Are
let's see.
this individually wrapped?
I don't know. We're gonna find. It looks like they are. Let me open it up here. Yeah, they are.
All
I don't know
right.
if- can you see that?
Yeah. So we got some different different choices for you.
Yeah. All right. What color do you want me to eat? Do you want me to eat purple, orange, or blue?
Purple, orange, or blue. I'm gonna go with the blue.
All right. This is purple.
Does it say anything about them on there? Are they say they have flavors or anything?
Five flavors and colors.
Say anything on the back of the box?
That's I'm looking now.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Of course not. I'm just.
No nutritional facts or anything?
Oh yeah, there's nutritional facts. All right, there's no nutrition at all in this shit. None. It's all, dude. You just must want my fucking foot to fall off or something, or Sugar Smack must. Glucose syrup, sugar, gelatin, sorbitol, modified cornstarch, citric acid, agar. What is agar? AGAR.
It's part of a cigar, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think it is too. Jesus. Malic acid, artificial flavors, glazing agent, palm oil, carnival.
Well, I hold the press. A glazing agent?
A glazing agent. Might be jizz.
That's what I'm thinking.
Ugh. Carnauba wax.
Carnauba.
Wax.
Yes, you can polish your car with that.
Great. Sodium citrate, artificial colors, titanium dioxide. Titanium.
Wow.
Yellow 5, yellow 6, red 40, blue 1, and caramel color.
At least it's not number 5 red. That one makes you really hyper.
Ugh.
Wow. So it's poison. It's
Yeah.
basically poison.
Basically, I'm just killing myself. All right. So here we go. I'm opening it up.
This is an evil twist hearing those ingredients. It kind of
Yeah.
makes some Sugar Smack even more fucked up.
What a fucking prick Sugar Smack is. So here, oh, you can't even see it because it's green screening out because it's blue and green. All you can see is the
I see
pink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. All
It's
right,
like you're eating an Oreo cookie, a salmon Oreo cookie with
Yeah.
salmon in it.
all right, let's try this. Gotta get through it. I can't get through it.
There's nothing to it. You can't get through it. Tell us what you're feeling right now. Tell us what you're tasting.
Feeling like quitting the show. It's got the substance of like a gummy bear,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't hate, but the tastes are awful.
Would you attribute that to the titanium or the glazing agent?
I think the glazing agent, like my fingers all wet and shit from squeezing this fucking thing.
So when you squeeze it, it gets the juice
Yeah,
the
it's
crab
got
juice comes out.
Yeah, it's got that glazing agent all over my fucking hands. Yeah.
Now, does it have a crab flavor? Would you say?
No, it tastes like candy, I guess, but I'm going to take it apart and eat them piece by piece. Here's the blue.
All right.
And I'll cover with the glazing agent.
Okay.
Oh, that's fucking gross. That tastes like cotton candy. Here's the pink. That tastes like a different kind of cotton candy. That tastes like the Sasquatch shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Gross. Here's the
So
green.
creamy Sasquatch shit center.
Yeah.
Is that how
Yeah.
you describe it?
Now here's the green. That tastes pretty good. That tastes like a green gummy bear.
Okay.
That one's all right. And then I'm not eating this last piece of blue. I ain't eating it. 'Cause it
That's
tastes
definitely
like-
probably the titanium.
And that's the glazy shit too. That's
Okay.
gross. Gross
Glazy
as fuck.
titanium. Well, it looks like you have some others you could pass out on Halloween.
Pass out is right. I'll pass it
Well,
out.
when the
to
kids come by, I don't know if they knock on your door for Halloween.
Yeah.
It's coming up. At least
Yeah.
now you could hand out some jumbo Krabby Patties.
Yeah, I'll give them the Krabby Patties and let them die. Bleh. Fuck you, Sugar Smack.
Well, that was close, man. You almost didn't have to eat it at all, actually.
Oh man,
That's
that
the
makes it
closest you got
worse,
to-
not better, Eric. That makes it worse. I was right there. I had it. I had him beat.
I again had a weird candy experience in the last 24 hours myself, just to sympathize once again with you. But not to name names, but someone on the journey, on this weekend's journey, asked if I would like this chocolate bar that in my mind, I was thinking a weed chocolate bar, because it's always a weed chocolate bar.
Okay.
But I did notice it had a mushroom on it. Okay.
Nice.
And I think the person did mention that, but in my mind, when you're just seeing something and your mind's just already made up, it knows what it is.
Yeah.
And you have equated it. It doesn't matter what the person said. You're just like, oh, it's a weed chocolate bar. But he said it was a mushroom thing, but it didn't make sense. And then when I got home and I looked at it, I'm like, because we get those. We'll buy those chocolate bars that have the weed and stuff. And anyway, so I decided last night, hey, I had a long day. I'll break open some of that weed chocolate bar.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there, and me, I eat a lot. Whenever I do something, I eat a good amount of it. So I started eating it. Now I noticed kind of right away, this did not taste like the regular weed chocolate bars. It kind of had a spicy thing going on. There was a little bit like it had something in there, like some crunched up mushrooms.
Oh,
basically. But yeah, this turned out to be some kind of like psilocybin thing, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I quickly get up and I run to the fridge, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, no, this isn't weed. This is not a weed chocolate bar. And I'm quickly turning it upside down, and I'm reading like the dosages and stuff, and they're like, oh, 1 to 3 pieces is a micro dose. And then I'm going, oh, okay, these are like what the people at Google do. When they start their day at work, they do their micro doses. I'm like, okay, this might not be so bad after all. I think I'm within the micro dose range, fortunately. But it was only because the taste was off that I ended up even going back for a second look on that. So it wasn't totally disastrous. I still have at least half of this bar in the fridge still from when I'm feeling adventurous. But I would describe it as like that feeling you get. I don't know. Have you ever done hallucinogens before?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, you know how it goes, like in the beginning stages when you've taken it, you regret it right away.
Yeah.
Usually.
As soon as it starts, you're like, oh, why am I doing this?
Why? Damn you, boredom.
Exactly.
But you get that weird, a little bit of an anxious feeling or a little bit of excitement. You're like, oh, what's going to happen? I would say that I started to get that feeling a little bit on the couch. Susan got all alarmed. She's like, I don't want to be with you if you're on mushrooms. And I was like, well, so be it. But I just was just watching some weird television or something last night, but it never took off on me. Like I never started like tripping balls or anything like that, luckily, but it could have been a situation like that. But I ended up kind of conking out pretty early. It was a long weekend for me. The older I get, the longer these weekends go, and just the whole airport, experiences and everything. It's draining, man. So I conked out by 9:00 last night. And here we are today. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. Okay.
And allegedly, third time might be the charm, we will be back with Adrian Vandenberg.
Wow. Okay.
Allegedly.
In the still of the night, I feel my heartbeat never.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's standing around our door, so to speak, and ready to do this time, because we're 0 for 2 with Adrian. I definitely want to have him on the show. He has a great new album called Sin, and you want to talk about a Whitesnake album. You could slap the name Whitesnake on it and no one would know the difference. It sounds like Whitesnake. It's so good. So we're going to take a little break. We will be back with Adrian Vandenberg, we hope, right here on Chris Akin Presents. So you want to make a podcast, right? Well, let me tell you where you need to go. You need to go to Spotify for podcasters. That's right. That is the platform that we use here on the CMS network. It is the platform you should be using too. It's got a lot of great features. First and foremost, it's free. You don't have to pay anything to be a part of it. It's free. It distributes to all of the channels that you'd want to be on, whether it's Apple or Google or Amazon or Spotify itself, which is great. It's the only place I believe that you can also get your video podcast put onto Spotify. So that is a definite perk. And did I mention that it's free? Cost you nothing. You just go over, look up Spotify for podcasters, sign up. It is fantastic. It's what we use over here at the CMS Network, and it is what you should be using as well. So sign up today, Spotify for podcasters. It will make your Spotify and your podcast much better. Check it out. See it. Right back here on Chris Akin Presents with myself, Chris Akin. And
Hi, my name's Steve. People call me Stoic Steve.
hello, Stoic Steve. What did you do with Erik?
He had to use the restroom. He'll be back. And we can discuss the guest that didn't show up for a third time on your show.
Yes, let's discuss that. Why not? For everybody that was tuning in looking for Adrian Vandenberg, strike three. Not here. Your thoughts, Stoic Steve?
Well, that is, of course, unfortunate. But here's why that's a good thing.
Okay.
That will give more time to you and your very, very talented co-host, Erik Ferentinos.
Yeah, he is the talent here, that's for sure.
He is. He's the comedic relief that you so desperately need.
That's right. I'm the straight guy here. Maybe I'm being replaced. Maybe you're the straight guy here, Stoic Steve.
I've been told that. And here's why that's a good thing.
Okay.
It's good to know where you stand with your feelings. And I don't have any.
So where are you from, Stoic Steve?
Unfortunately, I suffered a traumatic head injury, and I don't remember where I'm from. But here's why that's a good thing. A lot of people get hung up on their past and their upbringing and so forth, and that doesn't faze me at all. I just take life as it is, and I don't really care either way.
So what do you do? What do you do for your life, Stoic Steve?
I basically fill in for people, like as somewhat of a placeholder. If they're tied up or have to use the restroom or whatever.
So Stoic Steve, is your purpose right now to give Erik a pot smoking break?
It smells that way.
But you're not sure?
I'm not sure, and here's why that's a good thing.
Okay.
If I was to know, then I'd be obligated to tell you that. But since I don't know, it really doesn't matter anyway.
Stoic Steve, is there anything that is not a good thing?
I feel that all bad things are really good things in the end because it doesn't matter anyway. I think I hear your friend.
Okay.
He may have locked himself out. I'm going to go see if I can find him. Hang on.
Okay. I will wait. Boy. Well, you have
Hey, Chris, sorry about that.
You have some interesting friends, man.
Yeah, I've found a service where you can actually hire someone to sit in on your podcast if you have to go take care of some business or whatever. And I picked him. I thought he was interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, Stoic Steve making an inaugural appearance here on Chris Akin Presents.
Mm-hmm. Episode number 39.
Unlike Adrian Vandenberg, who apparently is never going to appear on Chris Akin Presents.
He seems like a heavy metal guy who's got like things to do, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I mean,
dating some girl that does somersaults on Jaguars, and
yeah.
he's busy. Who knows?
He is busy, and it just sucks though because I really did want to chat him up about his album, which I do dig, called Sin.
Right.
But apparently, it ain't gonna happen. 3 strikes, he's out. We're done. We're done trying with Adrian Vandenberg. But yeah, so I'm just gonna say this. I think we're wrapping it up. I don't have anything else to do. I'm a little annoyed about Adrian Vandenberg, and fuck it. let's just call it. We did a good
Stoic
show
Steve?
up to this.
Stoic Steve showed up.
That is true. And Sugar Smack. Boy, no wonder
Sugar Smack showed up. I think our audience got a fair show, fair game, if you will. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen that have watched this, we hope you enjoyed the show today. There's a like button down there if you could hit
That's
it,
right.
and whether you're watching this on Rumble or YouTube. We do want you to be on both.
Yeah.
Because it's just a matter of time before myself or the host of the show, Chris Akin, says something that's going to get us banned on YouTube permanently, and we're going to be gone.
Right.
We don't want you to have to endure such a tragic loss.
That's right.
In that way. So if you're already signed up on both, you can watch it either place or both places if you want to whatever, double down on the episodes.
That's right.
But if you could be on both, hit the like button, subscribe. We appreciate it. We like seeing those numbers go up, which they have. We notice and we thank you.
Yeah, we definitely do. Next week, allegedly, I don't even like to announce guests anymore, but I have on good authority that next week, Todd Dammit Kearns from Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators will be on the show with us. He has a new project. I forget what it's called, like Solstice, something named after a bird. Let me see what it's called real quick so I can promote this correctly. It is called Soul Sorte. SOLSORTE. Soul Sorte? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
It's a type of bird.
Is that a spirit cooking? Is that a spirit cooking thing?
It's a
where
type
you're
of
we
bird.
take your soul and we prepare it in a sorte.
That's
and
right.
You will eat it and you will love it. Is that what it is?
It probably is, but it's a new project he has with one of my least favorite guys in the entire world, Tracy Guns. But that being said, we are going to have Mr. Todd Dammit Kearns on the show next Monday to talk all about Soul Sorte and working with Tracy Guns and
the origins of the name.
Yes, and the origins of the name. And I'm hearing rumors that Slash will be back out on tour in January. So we'll talk to him about that as well and blah, blah, blah. So Todd Dammit Kearns will be our guest next Monday. And then the following Monday, Britt Lightning from Vixen. So we got good guests scheduled. We'll see if they show. At this point, I don't know what we want to say, but let's certainly, before we get out of here, let's first thank Kurt Deimer for coming on today. He was great.
Yeah, that ended up being fun.
Great new friend of the CHRIS Akin Presents.
And who knows, maybe with Tickles and Sugar Smack or, Stoic Steve. I mean, any of these people might have a chance in Hollywood if with a friend like Kurt Deimer around.
That's right. So before we go, as always, where are you going to be? Are you anywhere this week?
We are. We have to play that huge festival in Virginia that Pantera's doing, and a ton of bands. It's like a Blue Ridge Festival. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, the Blue Ridge Mountain Festival or something like that.
Yeah, this is huge. This whole event. There's like hundreds of bands. What a rigmarole that's going to be getting into this thing. I think we're going to try to get. We're flying in like North Carolina or something, and going to stay near the airport and drive over there. If I'm not, I might be off on that city. I'm not doing the logistics, but it's a long drive and there's nothing there. I think it's pretty much a throw and go, come with your stage clothes on type scenario. Okay. So that's going to be nuts. And then from there, we got to go to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So, yes.
So you're in Puerto Rico next weekend too?
Yeah, we're going to be in Puerto Rico, but I will be back for the show, so don't fear.
I was fearing.
Eric will be here.
I was like, Jesus, we're gonna have to do a whole show with Stoic Steve.
No,
can't have that.
I don't. You will not require his services for the entire episode. Maybe just like a minute or two of it.
Well, there you go.
Something I have to tend to.
Right. All right. Well, perfect. Well, we will be back next week. And I, of course, as you guys all know, Seth Williams Show, thesethwilliamsshow.com. The Classic Metal Show, of course, on Saturday, theclassicmetalshow.com. Erik, you need to catch up on last week because I was in your wheelhouse this week with I was absolutely saying YouTube bannable thing after YouTube bannable thing.
I will definitely listen to it on Rumble. That's where I'm going to listen to it and watch
absolutely. It'll for sure make it to Rumble. Dude, there was so much of the jab talk and it was me bringing it up. It wasn't even Neely. It was me, and plus I'm just incensed about this new fake pandemic too that they're trying to roll in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm incensed that I went off for about an hour about how to resist it, how not to cave into it this time, how not to be a bitch. And I went so far with it that literally the only days that people are getting Classic Metal Show on YouTube is today and Friday, because all the rest, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday editions, YouTube will just give us banning. So
it's just a matter of time. I know our channel is going to get taken down,
of course,
and I know it'll probably be an episode that I said something, which sucks, and it goes against all the work that we put into the show, and I'll feel bad about that, losing it. Even though we hate you two, I'll still, the fact that we worked to build that up, and I know it'll go away. It's not if, it's a when situation. But that's why it's important that everybody watching this, please go over to Rumble. It's free to sign up over there. As of right now, you just go to the Classic Metal Show till we get those numbers up, because it's our fault that channel got taken down. So I'm not saying anything. People are like, why don't you have your own Chris Akin channel? I go, because we got to build up the network again. That's why, and we're doing it by
more people. Yeah,
it's a one-stop shop at this moment till we get the numbers up, and then we'll worry about that later. But the fact that we still have an outlet to be us, the real us, and entertain you as only we can, that will always continue for the unforeseen future on Rumble. YouTube, it's going to be probably ending soon, but still like us on there anyway and subscribe.
Yeah, stick around until it dies, but it's definitely going to get killed eventually. I mean, just especially as the election ramps up. Because once the election ramps up and once they start saying, well, it's not mandated that you get a shot, but we encourage you, and then we say, don't do it, because, then it'll be misinformation and medical fraud.
We've seen all the fraud that they put on and how they twisted deaths and lied about things and never even checked to see if this was the case or not the case. They will use all those tactics again. And I'm going to go out there and speculate that there will be deaths from this. It's because everybody that took the shots wiped out their immune system and wiped out their T cells and allowed these guys to do an irreversible medical procedure on you. So now you're screwed. You're like programmed for the original thing that doesn't exist anymore, and you're dependent on Pfizer now. So as these people sadly get very sick and pass away, they'll probably say, hey, this is getting everybody, and this is why we have to mandate it, when the people that haven't taken it are not at risk for that.
Right.
And so I'm not falling for it. I would never take it. If you want to know my personal choice, there you have it. It never happened. It's never going to happen ever.
I'm with you. I'm not doing it either. So in any event, we are donezo. We are done for this week. So until next week, it is myself, Chris Akin, and that guy over there, Erik Ferentinos. And we will see you all next week. So see ya.